We know how tricky it is to be a leader with a neurodiverse team or being neurodiverse yourself. It can be tricky for everybody. So, we are going to talk about that today. We're going to talk about it from a leadership perspective and also from a neurodiverse perspective. So, I am here with Lou. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Kia ora, Nicola. My name's Luana, as you know. I work in comms and engagement at a management level, currently for the New Zealand government,
Love that.
and have held roles across the public service and in NGOs and private sector, kind of in the comms and engagementy space.
What's been your favorite job so far?
Ooh, great question. Um, is it lame to say my current one?
No,
Um,
because it does sound pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a great job. I'm actually really liking it. It is that like fun mix of I am good at what I do and know that I can get it done. And also it's really painfully hard sometimes and really difficult. And I think for ADHD that's a nice mix because I know I can do it, but it's hard and it keeps me interested.
So you don't get bored.
I don't get bored.
Do you get a lot of dopamine hits?
Yeah. Yep.
A lot.
Mm.
So, how long have you had your diagnosis for?
Ooh, think like 3-ish years, 2, 3 years maybe. Um, I actually only went down that track. I didn't even know that that was sort of where I was sitting, until I had my first daughter. And even as a baby, I knew she had copious amounts more energy and movement than anyone else. And I didn't realize until I'd had my second daughter, who was very, very different to that. I remember our eldest being at coffee with friends one day who had kids, and they were like, "You're right, she really doesn't stop moving." And until she was about probably 5 or 6, she knew her had sat down for an entire full meal in her life. And I was like, hmm. So I started looking into it for her, and then was like, oh, that's also me. Um, and here we are.
And here we are.
Hmm.
Isn't that funny? Because that was the same thing with my guy. Is he got diagnosed and I was like, oh, these are all very similar problems.
Yeah, it's a little bit confronting, but at the end of the day, it was also like really validating because I was
It
like,
does.
huh. Like I remember as a kid constantly being told, chill out, don't worry so much, stop being so emotional. And those are all words that I have seen be used to my eldest, including from me, which I have to stop myself.
When you got your diagnosis, what changed for you?
Once the kind of the medication stuff kicked in, that was like a whole new world.
Game changer.
Like I was like, this is how normal people feel. Um, I didn't feel like that kind of multi-lane highway in my brain constantly. And occasionally that happens, and like a particularly kind of busy time at work or family stuff going on, but generally that keeps it at bay. Um, I had been, I mean, I don't know, still, I'm not a doctor, whether it's misdiagnosed or it's an end, but as that feeling when I described that to my doctor as being like a more anxiety kind of a thing. And I didn't feel like that sort of medication really helped that much.
Mm,
And so when we went down this track, it was like, yeah, it was like night and day for me.
that's awesome.
Hmm.
What does ADHD feel like for you?
Pre-medication, it was like my brain had all of the tabs open and it was like a spaghetti junction multi-highway. And sometimes I couldn't even get the car through because it was just,
And it was a traffic jam,
yeah,
and it was lane on lanes.
literally. And that's like, it's mentally and physically exhausting. It could be anything from I haven't planned out what we're having for dinner for the rest of the week being, and if until I do that, it's a constant thought. It's not a thing that pops in and out. It's a constant thought on top of what do I have to do for work this week, on top of, you know, things going on in my life or friends' lives or my family or stuff I have to do around the house. And until the thing is done,
You can't do it.
the tab doesn't close.
No.
And
And sometimes it stays open after it's done as well.
Yeah, that's a fun.
Too overwhelmed to ask, but please subscribe.
So I guess that's what it feels like for me. Pre-medication, occasionally, even with medication in particular, kind of like stressful or busy time, that still feels like that. And that can mean like trouble getting to sleep. I'm a great sleeper. Sleep really well when I'm asleep. Trouble getting to sleep because of all the tabs. And other things I think since my diagnosis, like understanding why certain things affect me kind of in a big way, so we've talked before about like RSD. Like dating's no fun.
God,
Dating is the worst generally, but but it's no fun, because it's like,
oh, you don't want to go on a date with me? Why do I suck so badly? Oh my God, do I suck all the time like this?
pretty much. And then it's like, go on a date, I didn't really like the person, but if they say to me they don't like me, then suddenly I'm like, oh,
what's wrong with me?
yeah,
But
ridiculous.
it's like I didn't like
like-
you first.
I'm like, bro, you were punching, so
I saw people yesterday. Now I'm done for the week.
Okay, yes, dating's no fun, but also why we are
you can
here.
have the cat.
Thank you. I will have the cat. Also why we're here is leadership is also not fun.
Mm.
It can be very challenging, especially as someone with neurodiversity, but also having people in the organization that are potentially neurodiverse themselves or undiagnosed or diagnosed, and then also managing that as well. So tell me a little bit about your management style. Like, what do you do to make sure that. Oh, hi, friend. He's purring on me.
He is purring on you. Okay. I think it has definitely evolved over the last few years. I think I used to have a certain idea in my head of what a leader or a manager needed to be like. And in the last few years, I've kind of gone, actually, what they need to be like, from my perspective, is real, authentic, trusting and trustworthy. And I don't think you can do that if you're kind of trying to put on some kind of mask or like, so I am unapologetically me as a manager now. That feels a lot more natural. We're humans, we don't always get it right. Try to be unapologetically me, and what that means is being empathetic, sometimes overly empathetic, as we'll come to talk to, I'm sure. And it means being as planned as I can, so that I feel comfortable taking the tabs out of my head and onto the paper or onto the planner or the whatever it is, the tool that I'm using. I find really helpful in my day-to-day, but also in a kind of management point of view, so that it's like everyone can kind of see what's going on. In terms of like, I guess identifying teammates that have maybe some neurospicy stuff going on, and how to support them. I mean, if they are open about that conversation, then it's actually having an open conversation and going, what works for you? Let's do that. If they're not, either maybe undiagnosed, or I think there is still like a big taboo in the workplace around this.
It really is,
yeah,
right?
yeah. And so if that's not an appropriate conversation, sort of observing and finding where they seem like they're in their happy place, and working with that. So I have found personally, I work really, really well with super perfectionist details people, because that is not my skill set. And we can balance those things out. I'm a big I can see all of the things and connect them that a lot of people can't do, and make those connections and make something kind of work or beautiful at the end of that, where some people are really good at focusing and honing in on a particular thing, which is just something, no, not for me.
How does your manager deal with it? Does your manager kind of support you in that space? Have they had that conversation with you about like what makes you thrive?
Um, in different roles, it's been different.
Mm.
So I've had probably a mixed bag of bosses. I've probably only been open about this with 2 or 3 people in my career. So I've had people who know it and I am open about it and don't support a different way of working whatsoever. Um, and that's been really challenging in the past. I mean, I'm pretty new in my current role, so that's not a conversation that we've had yet, but you know, I think it's getting more and more talked about, and I think as a leader I have a particular responsibility to be open about that myself. And I feel confident and comfortable to be able to be like, hi, I'm ADHD. And sort of
I thought your name was Luana.
thanks. Oh my god, you're lame. Um, so then that makes it kind of, I guess,
Relatable.
related, but also like if other people feel like they can't say something, then maybe that shows that someone else can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So leading by example.
Yeah, I guess so.
How do you feel about kind of leading a team where you're not quite sure if someone is masking or if someone is needing accommodations? Like, how are you managing that as a leader for your team?
Um, Great question. To take the things out of the tabs out of my head, I wrote some notes, so let me refer to those.
I love this. Great chat.
Um, I think, and all I can do is look back on earlier in my career and what I'd hoped someone would do for me in that situation. So that's all I can kind of work with. Will it be right? Not 100% of the time. Give it a good go. Um, so I guess it's looking for those, I guess, either those sort of opportunities to go, I guess on the sort of more negative framing, like signs of overwhelm,
Mm.
you know, can I see that this person is getting really frustrated or overwhelmed or not delivering on something because maybe they don't necessarily understand or enjoy that particular
Kind of that
task.
micro target where
Yeah.
it's like, oh, did you miss that due date again?
And look, the reality is in the workplace, you don't get to always do the things you want to do. But as where I can and where it's possible, actually, trying to kind of fit the work program around where people's strengths are, where their interests are. And because that's different for everybody. A good team is made up of all kinds of different people, right? So
Yeah.
kind of looking for those signs of what people are into and interested in and good at versus where I feel like they're struggling. Um, I think the other thing on the positive side is looking for like where their neurodiversity superpowers lie.
What's yours? What's your superpower?
It's the big picture stuff. I mean, it sounds really lame, but it is like
Finding those.
it's finding, there's like so many threads and it feels impossible. I can on like a real good like hyper focus moment, I can smash out something that would take someone months and months in a morning. If I've just like got the right conditions, I'm feeling good, I can smash it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel that. I feel like, I think once you like harness those superpowers, like you can get people to do pretty much like phenomenal things in the shortest period of time.
Exactly. But I think it's about going, okay, that's not realistic all the time. That equals burnout. Um, but when there are times when you're just really struggling to make a start on something really boring or something that you really struggle with, just being kind to yourself in that, if it isn't like a super hard deadline on something, going, okay, let's move on to something else, come back to that. Or if it is a super hard deadline, I find like even things like changing my surroundings. Like I used to, in my last job, I worked a lot. Well, I worked from home almost 100% of the time. So I'd go and work, if I was struggling with something, I'd go and work from a cafe for a couple of hours, chuck some headphones on. And sometimes just that change of scene just kind of kicks me into gear. Yeah.
What else do you do to kind of kick yourself into gear? What do you think other people could do?
I mean, coffee. Remembering to eat.
Whoops.
Yeah, that's a good one. I forgot the question.
That's
I was thinking about coffee.
well.
I opened my journal and then I forgot what I was doing. Classic.
It's a great example. All right, let's talk a little around RSD. How do you deal with it? Now, keeping in mind that in a previous video, we've already covered this quite intensely. Like we've covered RSD as like an entire topic unto its own. So I'm curious to know how you deal with it, but not just like at work, but like personally. And then how do you think are some nice, and I'll ask the questions again so that you don't forget them. But what are some nice ways you think you could potentially give RSD friendly feedback, either as a manager or to your staff?
Okay. Start with me. Um, so that is something in a work scenario that I have really focused on, like, getting cool with. So I'm a big believer that if feedback is given in like a respectful way,
It's a taonga.
it is a taonga. Yeah, exactly. Like with the intention to help improve your practice, your work, adding context that you didn't necessarily have, like all those things to me, and delivered in a respectful way.
Yeah.
Here for it. Love it. If it's not, or if I perceive that it's not, woohoo. I either will feel like if it's a piece of feedback on one particular thing, but it's delivered in such a way that I feel like it's attacky, I'll think that my entire piece of work is shit. And I'll react to that, not to the person. It is a very internal reaction.
Yes.
And
then you just beat yourself up and you're like, oh my God, how fucking stupid am I?
It's so dumb.
Wow. Why were you ever, like, how do you even have this job?
Why did I try? So yeah, I think that is definitely, but it's something I've been like, I know is kind of like a bit of a sore point for me. So it's something that I'm actively trying to work on. And that's one of the things that when I start a new job, I do sit down and have a conversation with the people I'm going to be working really closely with, including like people in my team that report to me, because to me, feedback should go always. And go, hey, you'll have more context with me. You've been longer here. Well, you've been here longer. As long as we're doing it to help each other out and get a great end product, let's make it happen. So that's the work piece. In terms of like outside of work personal stuff, if I have a friend who I invite to hang out multiple times and either I'm like left on scene or they're like have other stuff going on for weeks or months, I now, because I also now recognize this sort of thing, I'll just be like, do you hate me?
Good question.
You have not. I've asked you that.
Many a conversation where it's like, no, not this week.
No,
I don't hate you this week.
You're actually fine. But actually just going, hey, I'm feeling a little out of the loop here.
A
A little sensitive. Do you hate me? Is that what's going on? And 99% of the time it's like, no, I'm actually just busy. Sorry. Like, so let's actually do something next week or whatever.
Oh, like that week I was dying where I'm like, I'm dying. I can't even.
Exactly. And I was like, why do you hate me? Can you just try better, try harder?
Try harder. And I was like, oh my God, why does she hate me now?
I know. And then we just got into a spiral.
It was a great spiral.
So I feel like
that's a good
meme breadcrumbing is
yes.
a good one. That's a good love language for me. Because it's like, it's going, I'm thinking about you. I saw a funny thing.
I do send you quite a few.
That's true. That is true. But I enjoy
most of them.
Yeah. So that's the RSD stuff, I think, for me. I do remember as a kid, like I said at the beginning, like being told, just chill out on, or
Why are you so emotional about it?
so a real like trigger thing for me is if someone tells me to chill, I'm like, and I don't know if that's the ADHD or if that's being a woman. Do you know what I mean?
God.
Because it's like, just calm down, love.
Calm your tits.
You know? And I'm like, ooh, let's go. Yeah,
Let me light up. Strap on in, kids.
exactly.
Yeah. I think like the kind of big ticket item like work wise also was for me about Quinn
Mm.
because I went to like a workshop, like a workshop around leadership, and they had this like really clear definition of leaders and how leaders should respond to their staff and how leaders should like manage up and how you manage down. And they had all these behaviors, they had all these things that people say, active listening, all of these traits that define this like perfect leader. And I was like, and I was like, excuse me, sorry, I've got a question real quick. So if you have none of those traits, can you not then be a leader? And I was thinking about my son at the time, where I was like, I just don't understand how you can box people into this box. Whereas my son's got other really cool superpowers. And I think it was about then that it dawned on me that up until that point, I'd probably been masking for like that entire time. And I'd just been pretending to be the manager that they wanted me to be out of that one box.
Literally same. And how freeing is it though? When you're like, I don't have to actually do that. I can just kind of be me.
Yeah. And I think that authentic leadership piece is so critical because it also then ties back into like your personal thing because then you're not switching between your home person and your like at work person because that's exhausting in itself, that switchy swoos.
I know. And I think there is an element like to bring in like the lady thing. Like I remember the first role I had when we came back to Aotearoa, my little one was like 8 months old or something, and the big one was like 3. And I didn't tell anyone I had kids.
Wait, what?
I would spend my lunchtime sleeping in the sick bay because I would be up all night breastfeeding.
Ma'am.
I know.
The fuck?
No, okay. Because that is what I thought to succeed in that role, in that organization as a leader.
That's what you had to do.
You had to sanitize yourself as a woman, as a mother, as a neurodiverse, as a whatever.
You just had to show up and do
and be this basically a kind of like a man.
Jesus Christ.
I know.
That is so sad though.
I know. And to this day, I still don't know whether that was, I think it's probably a combo of whether that was an expectation I put on myself or an external expectation. And I think it was probably a combo.
Also, probably survival.
I was very tired.
Yeah, like a little bit of survival there as well. Never. Yeah, that's so, I can't believe you sanitized yourself like to that extreme.
Because I was then masking, then coming home and trying to be a partner and a mother which was different to the role I was playing out in the world.
And then you've got to like switch.
It's like, ugh, gross.
How did you even make decisions? Like I think about being that tired and stressed, and I'm like, how do you even like decide what you're eating for dinner?
I had a stay-at-home husband.
Also helpful.
So I didn't have to worry about that.
Could he make those decisions for you?
I didn't make home decisions for a little while.
That's kind of nice.
Yeah. I would have fallen apart otherwise.
Jesus.
Because you can't do those things.
No. But also like I think it really ties in though like to that you're two different people. Like it's so ridiculous to be those two different people, but it's also really unsafe for so many other people to either unmask or be their authentic self in the workplace.
100%. 100%.
It's so sad that that is unsafe.
And then at like a macro level, it's like the whole like have it all thing, right? Like I heard Jacinda talking about her new book recently.
Yeah.
And one of the things people kept saying was like, you're so amazing, like you're a mother and you're a leader and
You're all these things.
I mean, let's
How do
just
you
be
do
honest, she is amazing
Okay,
at all
yeah,
those
like,
things.
let's be honest.
But she was very clear. She was like, I only did those things because I had a partner who looked after our baby. I had a mum who looked after the baby when he couldn't. I had staff. I had, like all these things were
this
put
backup system.
It was the village, right? And that's the only way. So she could focus her brain on that thing. And I know, this is about neurodiversity, not about being a woman, but the intersectionality, I think, of those things is important.
And also the limited research around neurodiversity in women is astounding.
It's out the gate.
It's like,
I mean, any research around women is out the gate. Do you know, I read the other day that it was a meme, so this is not fact checked. Okay,
do you need me to like fact check in the background?
I mean, you might need to. Or we can cut it. But I read this thing the other day that the Barbie movie came out before they used real human blood to test tampons.
I'm sorry, wait, what?
They've only just started using real human blood to test tampons.
So what are we using on tampons?
Like liquid.
Like no animal?
They're like, I don't know. Like I say.
But like,
look, I read a headline, to me that's I've read the book. Like,
well, I just have follow-up questions. Obviously. But like,
also there was a thing the other day about how the Barbie movie came out before they used a anatomically correct for a woman crash test dummy.
Oh, that I do know because it's a safety thing. Most of the crash test dummies don't even have boobs. So like, how do you even know how it affects women?
So we're safer.
Like this video and you get one more. La!
And I was thinking, okay, let's like dig a little bit more into this. And there's barely any, if any, research around leadership, around neurodiversity, women with neurodiversity and leadership. Like there's zero.
Hey.
I know. I'm like starting it. Like
there's two. There's two of us.
Let's walk our way in there.
I mean, I've definitely met some, but I don't think they know.
Do you find like you can now pick other neurodiverse people from like a mile away? When you're just like, you're in the group.
It's like witchy people. You kind of like find your little witchy tribes, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Because my very kind boyfriend said to me the other day, he's like,
I know that guy.
I know you know that guy. He said to me the other day, he was like, oh, it's like just everybody you meet neurodiverse. I was like, no, let me list all of the people that are not, because there's this person and this person and this person. And he's like, what about this person? I was like, not that person, but definitely these other 5 people. And he's like, surely not. And I was like, no, definitely that person, but not this person. So there's a ton of neurodiverse leaders that are either masking, not being honest about their authentic self, not being honest.
Don't know.
I
think what's one thing that's really cool is with my big one that we talk about it. Like she's not diagnosed yet. That's a journey to go down soon. But we talk about the fact that that's probably what's going on, and that means that her in framing it, that helping her understand why she gets in trouble maybe a little bit more at school for not listening, and things like that. But then also framing the positives about it, like you've got superpowers, dude. Like when I it just didn't even. All I thought ADHD was naughty little boys my entire life until like a few years ago. Like I thought it was like, that's what I thought. That's all I'd ever kind of heard, known, whatever. Like at primary school, me and my friend Gemma, we got sat next to 2 of our friends who are still my friends because they were the naughty ones and they were the ADHD boys. We got sat next to them to keep them on track. And hilariously, they're still my friends. But then like so I went to this like gross posh school. It's not gross. Please don't sue me. It was very posh, like private girls' school, right?
That's a bit nice.
It's a bit nice. But I remember me and one of my friends, we thought that we were dumb. We weren't smart in that way for maths and science. And I went to uni and I did like a bridging thing at uni because I was 16 years old. And I was getting A's and everything. And I was like, I don't understand. And it was like, I was good at it and I was interested in it.
Because it was stuff you were fascinated by rather than stuff you like were dying of boredom with.
Or just like fundamentally couldn't grasp. Also, like maths, just as a concept. You know, and so to me, if I'd known as a teenager, I'm not dumb, I'm just not this kind of smart, and my brain doesn't work in that way, I would have been able to unlock so much more. Like,
That's so disappointing.
right? So that's kind of what I want to do for the kids, is be like, brains work differently. Let's find the things that bring you joy and work for your brains. And I think that's one positive about, you know, ADHD being a lot more talked about these days. The gross side where people are like, everyone's got ADHD these days. And you're like,
Please.
we're actually just now allowed to have it. So, you know.
How many people did we do dirty by not diagnosing for the longest time?
The cat is on the...
All right. Anything else you can think of that you want to share?
Just, I guess, like in the superpower element. Like, I feel like neurodiversity is often framed as a deficit thing. You know, it's we're not the same and we're different and we're not normal and therefore that's bad.
Yeah.
Like I said, like the shit you can get done on a hyper focus buzz is out the gate.
But on the other hand, though, like you're literally wearing the pants that made me stop being able to drink coffee because they were so spiky. I literally couldn't drink coffee because I couldn't think anymore and I couldn't even be like, what?
So yes, there are debilitating parts.
There are some problems.
There are, like, it's not all roses.
It's not all superpowers.
But I think, and like, this is, you know, forgive me, this is my comms professional coming out, but I think, you know, there's a way to frame things and going, actually, rather than how do you adjust, you know, maybe in your questioning, you know, like, how do you adjust your leadership style to, you know, adopt? It's more like, how does that empower you and make you a better leader, you know? And so it's about the framing of it as well. And I'd love to see more of that, you know, out in the kind of public domain.
Wouldn't that be great?
Right. Well, thank you, Nikki.
Thanks. Thanks for coming for this chat.
Well, thanks for coming to sit on my sofa.
I know, I feel very comfy. And if you are motivated for more of our kind of chats, because I've got a couple of people lined up now,
Great.
which I'm quite excited about. All of which are ladies with neurodiversity versus guys. No offense to the guys. We welcome the guys to the fold, but there's just such little information out there for women. So, as usual, please like, subscribe, and follow. I don't
do
know
all those things.
Yeah, do all the good things. And let's spread the word. Cool. Thank you.
Okay.